For decades, O.J. Simpson's children lived quietly in the shadow of their father's name. While the world argued about gloves, DNA, and verdicts, they grew up watching their father become one of the most infamous figures in American history. They endured the murders, the trial, the spectacle of the White Bronco, and later the Las Vegas robbery and prison sentence. One daughter, however, carried memories far heavier than public scandal. She was present during the darkest moments of 1994, witnessing things no child should ever see. For years she stayed silent. Only after her father's death did she begin to speak, revealing a story far more disturbing than anything debated in court, a truth the family had buried for 3 decades. Orenthal James Simpson's life was shaped by hardship from the very beginning. When he was just 2 years old, his legs began to twist inward. Doctors diagnosed him with rickets, a bone disease caused by a lack of calcium and vitamin D. His mother, Eunice, was raising 4 children on her own and could not afford corrective surgery. Instead, doctors fitted O.J.'s small legs with heavy metal braces connected by an iron bar. He wore them for hours every day until he was 5. Neighborhood kids mocked him relentlessly, calling him pencil legs. Doctors told his mother he might never play sports or even walk normally. Those words planted something deep inside him, a relentless need to prove everyone wrong. His home life offered little comfort. O.J.'s father, Jimmy Lee Simpson, left the family in 1952 when O.J. was 4 years old. The absence alone was painful, but what followed was worse. Jimmy Lee later became a drag performer in San Francisco's gay scene, known as Mama Simpson. Rumors spread through the neighborhood, and children at school used them as weapons. When Jimmy Lee did appear, it was often violent. He beat O.J. with a belt, offering fear instead of affection. Jimmy Lee died of AIDS in 1986, and O.J. rarely spoke about him again. By his early teens, O.J. sought belonging elsewhere. At 13, he joined a gang known as the Persian Warriors and eventually rose to leadership. The group committed petty crimes that sometimes escalated into dangerous situations, breaking into warehouses and factories to steal food and goods. In 1962, after a massive gang fight, O.J. was arrested and sent to a youth guidance center. Counselors noted his violent temper, but also recognized his extraordinary athletic ability. He was arrested multiple times before turning 16, including one incident where police waited at his home after a theft. He expected punishment, but instead social workers arranged a meeting that would change his life. They introduced him to baseball legend Willie Mays. Mays didn't lecture him or threaten him. He simply spent the afternoon running errands, showing O.J. a glimpse of a life built on discipline rather than crime. For the first time, O.J. saw a successful black man who commanded respect without violence. That single afternoon altered his vision of the future. Still, the streets did not release him easily. Later that same year, a dispute over a girl turned violent, and O.J. was stabbed in the chest. He nearly died. His mother told hospital staff it was an accident, coaching him to lie so he wouldn't be sent back to juvenile detention. The scar on his chest became a permanent reminder, not just of violence, but of a dangerous lesson. Violence could be concealed and consequences could be avoided. Football became his escape. At Galileo High School, he bounced between positions until settling in as a running back. Once there, everything clicked. His speed and strength were undeniable, though his grades and discipline lagged behind. Colleges hesitated due to his academic record and troubled past. After graduation, he worked low-paying jobs, believing football was over. Then a junior college coach intervened, and O.J. enrolled at City College of San Francisco. With tutoring and structure, he transformed both academically and athletically, shattering records and drawing national attention. In 1967, he committed to USC, and his rise became unstoppable. He married his high school sweetheart, Marguerite Whitley, while still a teenager. Their first daughter, Arnell, was born the same day he won the Heisman Trophy. O.J. was not there for the birth, choosing instead to accept the award in New York. At USC, he dominated college football, winning accolades and rewriting record books. Yet even as his public image soared, his personal life grew increasingly fractured. Drafted first overall by the Buffalo Bills in 1969, O.J. demanded, and received, a groundbreaking contract. His early NFL years were rocky, hampered by poor team performance, but under coach Lou Saban he flourished. In 1973, he delivered one of the greatest seasons in football history, rushing for over 2,000 yards in just 14 games. He became a cultural icon, starring in commercials, movies, and television shows. His image was everywhere, polished and smiling. Behind the scenes, however, pain and chaos followed him. His marriage to Marguerite collapsed under infidelity and fame. In 1979, tragedy struck when their 2-year-old daughter, Erin, drowned in the family pool after days on life support. That loss shattered what remained of their family. Soon after, O.J. divorced Marguerite and moved on with Nicole Brown, whom he had met years earlier while still married. Nicole was young, beautiful, and drawn into a life of luxury. They married in 1985 and had 2 children, Sydney and Justin. Outwardly, they appeared perfect. Privately, O.J. was jealous, controlling, and abusive. Nicole documented the abuse in diaries and called police repeatedly. There were dozens of recorded incidents, yet nothing stopped the cycle. Even after their divorce in 1992, O.J. continued to stalk and threaten her. On June 12, 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman were brutally murdered outside her Brentwood condominium. The crime scene was horrific. O.J. claimed he was in Chicago, but evidence quickly mounted against him. 5 days later, instead of surrendering, he led police on a slow-speed chase that transfixed the nation. Millions watched as his carefully crafted image unraveled in real time. The trial became a cultural earthquake. Evidence was overwhelming, yet mistakes by the prosecution and the exposure of police racism shifted the narrative. After months of testimony, the jury acquitted him. Many celebrated. Many were stunned. A later civil trial found him liable for the deaths and ordered him to pay millions, a judgment he never satisfied. In the years that followed, O.J. drifted between notoriety and denial. He attempted to publish a book describing how he would have committed the murders. Public outrage stopped it. Then, in 2007, he crossed another line. In Las Vegas, he participated in an armed confrontation over sports memorabilia. This time there was no escape. He was convicted and sentenced to prison. After 9 years, he was released in 2017. He lived quietly in Nevada, golfing and avoiding the spotlight. Behind the calm, he battled cancer. In March 2024, he posted a final video insisting he was fine. A month later, he died at 76. His death did not bring peace. Legal battles over his estate erupted immediately, and the civil judgment remained unpaid. His children were left to navigate the wreckage of a legacy built on talent, violence, charm, and denial. O.J. Simpson's story ended not with closure, but with unanswered questions, unresolved pain, and a truth that, for those closest to him, will never fade.